Welcome. This is Psalms 23, and we're going to be specifically looking at verse 2. It says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures, and he leads me beside still waters." We're going to look at 3 ways sheep lie down. Even in the heat of the day, sheep can lie down if these 3 things have met. So the first one, sheep do not fear. There are different sources of fear within the herd. This can be inside the flock and outside the flock. Let's have a look at inside the flock. Within the flock, there is something called a butting order, like a pecking order for chickens, but it's a butting order. This is where we have some bossy sheep within the herd, and these bossy sheep will want to take their patch of grass or want to take their spot where they're drinking from and cause the whole flock to be on edge. It's normally the older female sheep who do this and not really the younger ones, but they target the younger lambs. And this causes the flock to just be on edge and actually be aware, actually, this is happening within the flock. And the only remedy for this to be solved is through the shepherd to draw near to the sheep. It's through the shepherd's presence that the sheep calm down. And it's the same way with us, that when the shepherd draws near, when the good shepherd Jesus comes close to us, our fears, our anxiety starts to still. Amazing. We see that there is a different source of fear. We see it an external fear through predators. Sheep do not have a fight response. Every animal, most animals have fight-flight responses, but sheep don't have fight responses because they are prey. So if a wolf's nearby, the only response they have is to flee. They're scared, they're running for their life. They're not going to fight, they're going to run. And the only way they can protect themselves is being with the shepherd. The shepherd will defend them. The shepherd will warn off and kill the wolves coming close to them. The same with us. We must flee. We don't have any other response. We must flee to God when danger occurs, when attack comes. And that is when he will fight for us. The good shepherd is nearby so we can have peace and we can have safety. It reminds me of that verse where it says, "He is our great high tower, and the righteous run to him." And it's the sense of us being able to run to God for safety, for comfort, and for peace. So the second point of if they are fed, this is the second point. If the sheep are fed, then they will lie down. So they have to have no fear, and they have to be well fed. It says in the verse where it says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures." Now, green pastures are a result of the shepherd cultivating a field. Let me explain. So the shepherd won't just let any old sheep go to any field. The shepherd will search out a particular green pasture and see, is this right for my flock? He will see, is there any pools of water which might be poisonous to the sheep? Are there any potholes which the sheep might break a leg? Are there any snakes in this field which may strike at the sheep? They might see are there any poisonous plants, and the shepherd will remove those poisonous plants because the sheep will just eat anything, and so forth. So actually, a green pasture isn't just any pasture. It's a selected pasture. And the same with God. We don't all enter into the same pasture. He has different places of rest for us. One place of rest is going to be completely different to someone else's rest. And you'll know that yourself to someone else's rest. You might have a different pattern, different rhythm of resting. But ultimately, we rest in him, that we can all rest in his presence. We can all rest in his finished work. And that is the ultimate green pasture, that we become renewed, we become restored. We see later it says he restores my soul. And I think through the restoring is through resting in that pasture. Green pastures are also generational, and so is our walk with the Lord, that we have a generational walk, because what we do now, how we walk out today, will affect tomorrow and affect those who we discipled, affect those who we bring up and nurture in the faith. So a good green pasture with good grass will affect how lambs are being brought up, because more milk can be produced through the mother if it's a good grassland with plenty to eat. So the lambs are healthy. Let's have a look at the next part of the verse. He leads me beside still waters. Now, this is the second part of how sheep lie down. So he talked about fear, remember? There's no fear, so if there's no fear, they will lie down. If they're well fed, they'll lie down. And the final condition for them to lie down, you need all three of them, is that they are well watered. They've had plenty to drink. See, sheep can't drink from flowing water. They have to drink from still water. And the reason is this, that they are afraid of the flowing water. They may see the water and hear the noise, hear the rushing current and be afraid, but ultimately they are afraid of drowning. Their heavy coat will pull them down and they will drown. That's a lot of wool on them, isn't it? And if they get water in there, they will just drown to the bottom and be swept away by the water. So they have to drink from still water. But there's a difference between stagnant and still water, isn't there? Stagnant water is where the water's just been there for a long time and there's going to be disease, parasites and all these different things in there. Still water comes from flowing water. And I think how Christ gives us his word. He gives us peace, but that peace has come from himself. He is the wellspring of life. He is the living water that we can drink from. So we can see that there are so many different parallels to us when we rest, or when he leads us into green pastures. We ultimately don't have to fear because the shepherd is near. We are fed through the reading of the word, and we also drink deep from his presence. So we can see in verse 2 the incredible correlation between our spiritual walk and how the Good Shepherd leads us.